Hey, Warpugs. Well, we're back into it. When Day Breaks story so far. This is done by Mr. Illustrated. I'm hoping that this is going to be a recap and a general compiling of the story from all the different angles that is currently in. I have been very much enjoying this so far. Um, we're almost caught completely up. We're almost caught completely up. It's a wonder at how one series. I often tell people, if you want to look at how far I've come as a content creator myself, the only thing you need to do is look at the Mistakes of the Emperor series. From episode 1, when I was just trying to figure out how to do things, I was recording on a mic that was not decent. My editing style hadn't gotten down yet. Still was very uncomfortable behind the microphone, to episode 6, where I really started to come into my own. And soon I'll be sitting down to finish the script for episode 7. If you want to see my path as a content creator, there is no better series to watch. This is Mr. Illustrated series to watch, to see how far he's come in the time that he's been putting these out, because it has been downright impressive. And some of the best artwork that I've seen is, and I still want on my wall, saving up for other things though. I have to. I absolutely love this series. And it's going to hurt my heart a little bit when I catch up all the way. But that just puts me in a position where I'm just with everybody else that has been enjoying this series for as long as they've been enjoying it, waiting for the next part to come out. So here we are, Mr. Illustrated, When Day Breaks story so far. Let's get into it.
Good day everyone, and welcome to a special video covering the entire When Day Breaks canon me and Sumerian have been developing over the last few years. There have been a fair few characters and storylines established so far, and with so many of them, and with some of these storylines and characters starting to overlap, I think now's a great time to just take a step back and make sure everyone is up to date on where we're at and where we're going.
Alright.
So, a quick word from today's sponsor, and we'll get started.
Okay.
The SCP Artbook campaign is still ongoing, and
I was unable to do this. I was unable to get into this Kickstarter. I really, really wish I had been able to get into this Kickstarter, because those were so nice.
they have obliterated their original milestone, as so many of you have signed up to getting the next edition. For hitting the stretch goals,
This Kickstarter is done, I do believe. I'm still going to put it down. I'm going to check it. I have not. In fact, hold on a second. Let me check and see if this Kickstarter is still active. Because if it is, I'm going to put the description down below, and I'm probably going to wind up trying to get some. Also, guys, check the description down below for Mr. Illustrated's merch, because I'm going to have that down below. Let's see. It looks like he actually removed... It looks like he actually removed the Kickstarter. Okay, he did remove the Kickstarter from his description. Okay, so that was removed. So I'm just going to go ahead and move over this part, and let's get into the actual meat of this. Here we go.
Right, so let me set out the storylines we have, and then we'll work our way through them.
Okay.
There is the original Logan and UN storyline, the London storyline, the Ikea storyline, the Dr. Bright storyline, the SCP-106 storyline, and the SCP-682 storyline. This list isn't final, so there might be some more storylines to come. I haven't had any others come to mind yet, but who knows. There are some one-off tales too. They have their own section. These aren't actually part of...
It should be the voices, 179. And 179 hurt my heart. The Plague Doctor, Shy Guy, and Peanut and the Gate Guardian. So the ones that are going to be continuing are 106. Okay, Elmo's Fire. I really want to see the Un-London and Un-Dublin storyline continue, because I'm loving it.
Of an ongoing storyline though, they're just one-off self-contained stories. Let's now go through these storylines, give you all the cliff notes, point out where these stories overlap, and give you an indication of where things are headed.
And speaking of which, the voice actress that has been used primarily in this has been absolutely stellar. I know how difficult it is, because I've used voice actors for a very long time. I know how difficult it is to hand somebody a voice roll and get exactly the kind of reaction that you want, everything that you need. It's difficult, and it's great that he's found somebody that is so good at this to work with him.
Firstly, we have the original Logan and UN from Site 46. Her story was the very first one we covered, a very touching and emotional tale that sums up what the When Day Breaks event was, as well as her slow descent into crippling depression and insanity following the loss of her partner Ari and Logan's failed attempts to bring her back from the dead. It is implied at the end of the tale she overdosed on a bottle of pills. The individual who stumbled across Site 46 and found these files did not, however, find the body of Logan. The unnamed individual was discovered by the Flesh. The individual's fate is unknown, but the ending implies that they were taken by and likely converted by the Flesh. Logan briefly appears in a crossover with SCP-106's storyline, something we will get to later, but otherwise, her storyline ends here. Next we have the UN-London storyline. This one initially follows a large group of SCP staff members taking refuge in UN-London. Following an attack from the Flesh, only 3 survivors escaped.
And let me say, this picture right here, I want this on canvas. I have said it several times. I really want to put this on canvas. So as soon as there are some things I really just like, I'm waiting on. This is one of them. I want this on a canvas print, and I want to hang it on my wall. I had intended a while ago to replace all the artwork on the back wall here, as well as back there. I had intended on doing a lot of stuff, but it is what it is with that. I mean, there's a lot of things that I want to do that eventually I'm going to do. It's just going to take time to do it, but this is something I absolutely want.
London as it burnt to the ground. Jacob, Elise, and Kira. Jacob was a containment specialist, Elise was a research assistant, and Kira was the head of security. The creator of UN-London provided sanctuary and transport, and invited them to UN-Dublin, where the creator shared his plan to take the fight to the Flesh. By starting a nuclear Armageddon using SCP-1984, a Russian Cold War relic that promises nuclear retaliation in the event of a first strike from the West.
And I love the fact that it's 1984. Not only because of they missed it by 1 year. 1983 was the year that a Russian spy satellite, not spy satellite. There was an exercise going on in Russia that exercise or something to the effect of. Basically, in 1983, we almost had World War III, and it was due to an error in the system. It's been a while since I looked at what exactly happened, but there was one guy who still is not given the props that he actually deserves because he refused to do specific things. And sorry guys, I'm summarizing because I can't remember exactly. I'm old, I'm a boomer, that's what happens. But he just basically didn't pull the trigger. And when he didn't pull the trigger, World War III was averted. Because Russia was under complete and total certainty that they were under attack by the United States.
The Flesh would be largely wiped out, while the sunlight would be blocked out for a time, giving humanity a chance to try and find a long-term solution. It was revealed another SCP staff member, Director Moose, was escorting survivors to the Wanderer's Library via a gateway in Dublin. Elise elected to stay behind to assist in the evacuation efforts. Jacob and Kira headed back out into the world, accompanied by a small contingent of bobbies to act as a security detail and as escorts to find a nuclear submarine to put the creator's plan into action. While we know from other tales that the plan to start a nuclear Armageddon was successful, we have yet to explore their storyline further, but we will. Next, we have the Ikea storyline. Following a breach of the infinite Ikea by the Flesh, Jamal and a group of survivors were rescued by members of Mobile Task Force Epsilon 9, the Fire Eaters. They were then evacuated and recruited into the SCP Foundation's ranks as a separate task force working alongside Mobile Task Force Epsilon 9 to recover high-value surviving SCPs. Their storyline is still to be continued, however we know from the end of SCP-682's tale that both them and MTF Epsilon 9 are trying to locate and recover SCP-682 and SCP-053. Why? Time will tell. And now we move to the Dr. Bright and Dr. Sumerian storyline. Dr. Bright was converted to Flesh right at the start of the event. However, the properties of the amulet that hold Dr. Bright's soul refused to part with Dr. Bright, and so the Sun was unable to claim and hold Dr. Bright, who instead is now stuck in limbo in the flesh consciousness, but retains all his intelligence and personality. Dr. Sumerian and a band of survivors composed of MTF members and
I love the fact that there's a little Elmo symbol on the flamethrower.
researchers were taking refuge inside an SCP site. Following a communication blackout with a large part of the team, the rest ventured out to discover them all dead. The flesh form of Dr. Bright then appeared to them all with a plan of his own to activate SCP-2000 to restore humanity. All but Dr. Sumerian decided against this plan, staying behind, while Sumerian and Bright ventured off out into the world towards Yellowstone. The last we saw of the pair was them taking shelter in a bunker as a nuclear missile detonated over SCP-2000. Now the SCP-106 storyline.
Yep.
SCP-106 was freed in the very early days of the When Day Breaks event by a mysterious woman from the Wanderer's Library. Her reasons and motives are as of yet unclear. However, the terms of the old man's freedom are simple. He carries the worthy to his own dimension to die away from the Sun's corruption, and in return, he is granted total freedom, and he can consume as many children as he pleases, so long as they die in his dimension. The woman, however, holds the power to entomb him in his cell permanently should he break the deal. It was revealed as well that Logan Igota's body was never recovered from Site-46 because SCP-106 offered her peace at last in his dimension, an offer she accepted. SCP-106 made a brief appearance in the SCP-173 tale, where he and the woman were seen escorting another soul to safety. Lastly, the SCP-682 storyline. Following years of experimentation and cross encounters, 682 and 053 have bonded and become best friends. 682's hostile nature is slightly lowered in the presence of 053, and 053 thinks
That's an absolutely creepy picture, though.
of 682 as both her best friend and as a teacher of sorts. It has been revealed to us that 053 is immune to the sunlight for an as of yet unexplained reason. The flesh will even turn to ash upon physical contact with her.
Yikes.
In contrast, 682, however, is vulnerable to the sunlight and is currently sheltering both himself and 053 under an inorganic canopy attached to his hide. They are both currently on the run from the flesh. At the same time, MTF Epsilon 9 and the Ikea team are trying to locate and recover them both for unknown reasons on the orders of a character only known as 2. And finally, we come to the one-off tales. In a Halloween special, we saw a survivor hiding from the sunlight
This one really hurt my heart.
in the sewers below California. He found a young girl who he tried to save as the flesh chased them through the remains of a taken settlement. The young girl eventually was revealed to be flesh all along, and the survivor was taken for conversion. In another, we caught up with a small group of Foundation researchers inside one of SCP-179's monitoring stations. SCP-179, true to her nature, indicated the sun was a threat to humanity prior to her then being destroyed by the sunlight. In a recorded message received shortly after the When Day Breaks event began, it is revealed that the sun has turned on all life, and that there is nowhere to go and nothing to be done, only to hide. In the next tale, we find Murphy, a lone engineer living in a damaged SCP site in the middle of the desert, with only the SCP-131 twins for company. SCP-049 and a horde of his creations are contained in the basement, with no understanding of what is going on in the world, and are hell-bent on finding him. The Doctor's creations finally disable the defenses and kill the 131 twins before cornering Murphy. In a fit of rage, grief,
The 131 twins, their death makes me sad.
and despair, Murphy opens the site to the sun that melts all of the Doctor's creations to flesh, dooming both SCP-049 and ultimately himself. We catch up with SCP-096 next, who is doing his thing, crying and mooching about in the ruins of a dilapidated SCP site.
Yes.
He befriends a blind girl after killing her mother, and both cares for her and loves her. After the flesh lure the blind girl out to the sun, SCP-096 gives his life in an attempt to save her from the sunlight. SCP-096 is seen melting in the sunlight overlooking the sea, while the fate of the blind girl is left unknown. SCP-173 makes an appearance in the next tale. This tale takes
I hate Peanut.
place several months after the When Day Breaks event has begun, with most of the SCPs in this site long gone, and only the rotting corpses of the staff found littering the halls. The flesh manipulates 173, giving it the attention it craves, and persuades him to come to the sunlight where it is taken by it. SCP-173, however, does not dismay or attempt to save himself, but rather rejoices in the admiration and love it is finally receiving. The inanimate stone remains are destroyed sometime later by a nuclear missile detonating nearby.
Nice.
And finally, the flesh assaults the Garden of Eden, leading to a spectacular battle between the biggest titans the flesh can muster and Uriel himself as they fight for the security of paradise. The deer itself is used as a weapon against Uriel. They battle to the death and are both finally killed by the raw power of Eden being used as a weapon by Uriel to destroy the flesh deer. And that is where we are so far. There are new entries being written for the 106, 682 and Ikea storylines. As it stands, all the storylines now need to reach the nuclear winter section before I can start going past it.
Okay.
Once we hit that bit where the storylines are at the same point in time, me and Sim can start introducing the last couple of storylines if there are any, and moving the story forward from there.
Sounds
There are
good.
also some more standalone tales planned as well, covering more SCPs and their response to the When Day Breaks event. Two big mentions I would like to take the time to point out and thank are firstly SD Lock for writing SCP-001 When Day Breaks. Who would have guessed that one video would have encouraged so many of you to put forward more ideas that eventually blossomed into its own developing canon.
Nice.
And of course, a massive thanks to Dr. Sumerian as well, my co-author throughout this project. Please go to his channel and drop him a comment thanking him. I'm certain he would appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you liked this video and be sure to like and subscribe if you did. Massive thanks to all the patrons and members for keeping this channel going. Please consider joining them. And thank you to Rick Trexon, Wings of a Meme, Number of the Yeast, Splendy the Tear God, Razman, Guardian of...
Guys, the War Pugs are active. This series has been absolutely amazing the entire way through. I cannot wait to get to the next couple of parts of the story. I really can't. And I can't wait until the newer parts get... Excuse me. Excuse me, Pugs. Trying to get things done. Can you calm it? I'm going to start talking and they're going to start barking again. Okay, well, guess not. So, guys, this storyline has been amazing the whole way through, and I see no signs of it changing in the future. I can't wait for the Nuclear Winter storyline. I can't wait to see, especially what happens with 682, because that story gave me a whole new outlook on him. The old man in the old man SCP, his storyline has given me a whole new outlook on him as well. So there's a lot of things happening with this, and a lot of things that are just amazing. Anyhow, guys, thank you for joining me for this. Sorry I had to step up and go handle pug anger. And I'm going to step away, and we're going to continue on with this later. I'll catch you guys next time.